right, hello everyone. My name is Timothy Lee Grant. Welcome back to another video, and we are going to continue making progress on our project. So here, let me make myself a little bit smaller and get started. So where we left off, we have just implemented Docker containers and Docker Compose. So previously in the past, we would have to go into every single one of our microservices and start it up manually. So we had to go into our producer microservice and then do Maven, Spring Boot, start, run, right? Then we had to do that for our consumer resource, our front-end resource, our register resource, all of these different microservices. We had to go in and manually start them. Now, watch this. Ready? Here we go. Docker compose up. And look at this. Look at this. Beautiful. Beautiful. Oh my goodness. Oh. Amazing. Look how pretty that is. Okay, so now let's come here and let's just refresh this. And let's see. It just works. It just works. How amazing is that? Okay, so then what we can also do is like this. My second test, and then we're gonna do, I don't know, 667, okay? We're gonna add supplies. Oh no, it failed. So there's some kind of problem with our Eureka server. Let's come here, let's check our instances. Now it does have that. Hold on, what is going on with you? Let's try redoing this. Test producer, and let's just say 44. Add supply. Okay, I think what happened is we were loading a staled version, or we needed to give it some time to actually boot up, one of the two, but it's working now. So then we can actually come in to our thing here, and we can see test producer with a quantity of 44. So I guess we need to wait for it to continue to boot up, and once it is all booted up, then we can go and start operating on it. I think I was a little bit too eager. Anyways, so what are we gonna do today? How are we going to be able to move this project forward? So getting this Docker Compose was very, very helpful, because now I no longer need to go in and go into each one of these microservices and try to start it up myself. I can just go in and do that one line of code, or one line of command, Docker Compose up. It's able to spin up all of my microservices, and they communicate to each other. So now this is going to allow me to actually spend more time on developing and moving the other components of this project forward. So there's a lot of things that I want to get done with this project, and a lot of things that we still need to do. So for example, one of the things that we have been neglecting for a little while now is on this front end, we need to have a method for the user to be able to log in and to store their credentials. Okay, so right now what we have is we have this front end, and we're just accessing the home page, right? And then we come here and we get the home page, and then we're able to either add supplies or consume supplies. Okay, well, I kind of want to have it where the user is greeted by a login page, and they need to provide their username and their password, and this password is going to be stored in a database. The front end, so that request is going to come here to the front end, right? The client is going to send their username and their password. It's going to be accepted from the front end service. It is going to then be validated against the information inside of the database, and then if the user is a valid user, if their username and password match, then we are going to be able to allow them to enter into the page here, okay? So that's where we're trying to head we won't be able to get all of that today. That's a very ambitious thing to be doing. What I want to do today is I want to just have a home page or a login page, just has a button that says login. And then based off of that, they have been credentialed. Okay? And so I want to be able to store, and I haven't decided which one I'm going to do, Java Web Tokens or session IDs. So I'm not sure which one I'm going to do. And first off, before we actually go and make those decisions, let me just close out of this. And let's just go and look at our front-end service again, because we haven't seen it in a little while. So we have our app.js, okay, and we're doing our listening on the port. Okay, that's great. Now, what I want to do is I want to have a home page, right? So let's just go and we have this home page. Actually, this might be we want a login page. That's what I'm going to call it. Not a home page. This is the home page right here. So I'm going to come into my routes and I am going to export a new route. So what we're going to do is lower this and we're going to kind of follow, it's going to be a get route. Okay. So, and I should organize these things. I understand that. I actually have a login right here. So we're going to do almost identical. Let's just do it from scratch. So I want to kind of group my routes together. They should obviously be in separate files, but we're kind of just rolling with things right now. So router.get, and we are going to do login, and we're going to have a request and a response, and this is going to be mapped over to our function. So first thing we need to do is we want to render an EJS page, right? So response.render, and what page are we going to render? We haven't made one yet. Login page, and this is going to be an EJS, right? And what are we passing in? I haven't decided that either. So I think we can probably get away with doing this right now. Let's fix that. There we go. Okay. So we might be able to get away with doing this, but we have not made this login page. So let's do that right now. We can come here to views, and I will create a new file called login page. Login page.ejs. Okay. And now this should be very similar to this up here. So let's copy this, and we're going to paste it into here. And then we're essentially going to remove a lot of the JavaScript here. So take the script and delete it. Okay, woo, woo. Okay, come on. And you're gone. Okay, so now all of this divs and all of this body, and you're gone. Well, you're not gone yet, but oh, come on. Okay, and you're gone. All right, so what can we keep? We can keep this, we can keep this, sure. Icon, sure, we can keep that, okay. Style sheets is style.css. Let me make sure. I mean, obviously we have that, but I'm just gonna public styles.css. Okay, so we have all this, so it should load with the same kind of style page. And this, I'm not sure what's going on there. Let's just load this. I'm kind of curious what happens if we just load this. So let me close this out. Now, do I want to do Docker compose build? Okay. Now, as you can kind of see, this is actually going to be, I think, a little bit, if I'm just working on the front end, and I don't need to actually get all of them to come up at the same time. Like, I don't actually need the other microservices to come up. It actually might be better if I use the, what was it called, NodeMon. But I don't know how NodeMon will react if I've set up a lot of my routes as specific to containers. I'm not sure about that. Let me just see, does this come up? Okay, so that comes up. So we're gonna do localhost here, and we're gonna go to 3000, okay? And then login. Is it like that, or, okay, good. Okay, so we got this, and it is this style. Okay, so we're able to render this, and now let's actually start with the creation. So this is definitely one point which I don't have a lot of experience, which is HTML and all of those different aspects. So I'm going to come here, and we're going to try to learn it as well. So this is for Docker. We don't need this right now. And I am going to try to figure out, okay, how do we get that button? And then how do I trigger an event on the button? So I am working with EJS and want to get a button and trigger on a button event. Okay, so let's see. It's something like element, or I forget what the syntax is going to be. Okay. So where is it? We have the script. Okay. So button ID, my button. Okay, so let's just do that. Button ID. So we're setting the ID to login button. Okay. And then I'm gonna say the text. Okay. Like this. And then click here. Okay, so now I actually just want to get rid of this. So what I'm going to do is open up a new terminal. I'm going to go into my front-end service, okay? And then what I want to do is make sure that this is stopped and everything. I want to do nodemon app.js. Can I just go like that? I forget how to do it. All right, Eureka failed. I don't care about Eureka right now. That's fine. As long as I can get this. It's up, okay. And it's up. Awesome. So now I want this button centered. How do we do this? Okay, so now what I should be able to do is come in. Oh, that's going to be annoying. Just watching it do that. I don't want to watch it. Okay, so I should be able to come in here and have. I set this thing here, right? And this I should be able to do in maybe styles. Dot container, dot header, dot. So I am going to compare it here. See, these buttons are okay. So you can also pass dynamic content in here. So EJS button text, yeah, that's fine. And then for the script, I can add an event listener. Okay. So that's one way to do it. And then the other way, document add event listener. Okay, so that's the second one. Okay, so in my script, I am going to do this right here. So let's come into my script and do document.add event listener. Okay, and now we're listening for document object model content loaded. Okay. And then a function. Okay. Are we good with that? And what do we want to do? Constant button document dot. Okay. So now instead of here, button equals document dot get element by ID, and we set our ID to this right here. Is login button, okay? Is it not like my function? There we go. Okay, so after we do that, we add an event listener. Okay. Button dot add event listener. Okay. Click and function like this. All right. alert is button was clicked, and then we can, based off of that, we can modify this as we please. So let me come back. I actually don't. I want this here. Let me come back here. Let me reload this. Let me come here. And now we have that button is clicked. Okay, cool. So we were able to add the event listener. That will be helpful. I want this button to be bigger. I want it to be in the center of the screen, and I want it to have some character to it. Okay. So I'm going to come here, and I'm going to say that I want to change the of the button. I want it to be bigger. I want it to be in the middle of the screen. And I want the colors to be different. Now, here's the thing. I don't want it just to tell me how to do it. I want it to understand kind of what's going on. So, tell me how to do it, but also what is going on. I am trying to learn. Okay. There we go. So, come down here. Okay, so we have this with our ID. This is just the structure. HTML defines the content. Now styling with CSS. So you can add style directly in my EJS file using a style tag or link it in an external style. Here's an example using inline CSS, okay? So we have something called my button, which matches this ID. So hashtag my button. Let me try taking this, copying this part, and I actually want to copy this into styles.css. Okay, I just want to see if this works. Let's come here and let's paste it. Okay? I don't know if this is going to work, but let's try it. It didn't work. Okay. So, oh, well, of course it's not going to work. I didn't call it my button. I called it login button. And this is based off of the ID, right? So, let's see. Let's save that. There we go. There we go. Okay, so the hashtag refers to ID. And I believe the dot refers to class. Okay. So now background color. I like the, oh, not that. Look at this. Like, this is beautiful. Look at these, like, you see how it's dark over here but light over there? That's beautiful, isn't it? So let's kind of try to identify what this is. This is consume supply and this is add supply. So there's buttons inside of this homepage, okay? So let's find it. So class is dashboard, okay? Card, okay? Take supply event. So this is on submit. That's why this form, this entire form here. Now this is a button and this is of type submit. So we submit and it submits this form and this form takes this action and gets passed in an event variable, okay? Consume name. So this button is actually what we're looking for. So we have the information of this button, and this is the consume supply button right there. Okay, so it's of class button secondary, and consume button. Now I'm going to come into here, and I'm going to look for that. So button here, button hover, button active, button secondary, okay? And we have these linear gradients. So I'm guessing that we're gonna do something with linear gradient and its background, okay? So I'm just gonna be playing around with things a little bit. I'm gonna come here and I'm gonna say, instead of this background color, do we use hashtags or what? Oh? What else would it be? We have to use those? Come on. I don't want to use those. Okay. Anyways, let's do that background. Let's come in here and let's see how they did it, right? So this just says background. It's not background color, it's just background. And we have linear gradient. Okay. So let's do something kind of similar. So just background, okay, linear gradient, and what do we want to pass into this argument? I could copy and paste it, but I'm not going to. We have 135 degrees, and then the color that we want to go from. Let's just, okay. Degrees. And then we want to go from, let's go to pink to blue. Okay, so how do they even get those numbers? You see these, like, what is this? Like, how do we determine that? What is Pink's hashtag number CSS? Okay, so let's do this. All right. And, oh, it actually might be the same thing. Oh no, it's not. And 0%, okay. %. And now we're gonna say the same thing for blue, okay? %. I have no idea if this is gonna work. Ooh. Wow. Okay. So, I think this 135 is in terms of that right there. I think if I did like 180, it just might be up and down. 180. Okay, let's try that. Oh, okay, well it's flatlined. Let's try 0 degrees. Let's just do 0 degrees. See maybe that's straight up and down. Oh, no, it's like exactly horizontal again. 90 degree. Oh, I see. 90 degrees. Yeah. Here we go. Ha ha ha. Got it. Okay, I actually like the 135. That 135. That was a pretty good number, I think. This, and it kind of looks like that. It's pretty cool. I like it. I like that. I'm not a huge fan of the color scheme exactly right there. Okay, you want to know a place that has a really good coloring scheme? What is the CSS values of TikTok's colors? Yeah. Okay. Let's see about this. They're black, they're white. Let's try that. Sea serpent. Okay. Let's see what this looks like. This one? Okay. That's their aqua. Okay. Let's try this one. Crayon red. Okay. What does that look like? Okay. Kind of. Looks fine. Sea serpent. Oh, I see. Okay, so these are just a different way of representing it. I see. Okay. So linear background is kind of like that. Awesome. That's pretty cool. When you hover over it, it turns green. Is that true? I'm not seeing anything change. Login button, hover here. What if we just do color? What happens there? Oh, that's pretty cool. Okay, let's make it black. Can we just can I just say black? Can I just go? I guess I can. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. That's cool. Okay, okay. So now we got this to kind of work. Click here. And so now what do I want to do? I want to come in here and I want to let's ask it about these web token things. And by the way, yes, I do kind of want to spend a little bit of time learning more about front end. And I do plan on making this, not this one, but obviously I'm going to be digging into this and learning a little bit more and exploring things for two reasons. Number one is my conception of what I want to do right now is I am constantly looking at what can I do today that makes me the strongest candidate as compared to yesterday. So, okay, I only have maybe 1 or 2 hours to study today because I went to work, right? After I got off work, I had to drive from Portland up to Seattle. Maybe I only have 2 hours. What can I do in these 2 hours to make myself a better candidate to maximize that increase relative to where I was yesterday, right? And so I'm constantly looking for, well, do I do a leak code problem? Or do I work on my project? Or do I try to understand something? So I'm balancing all of these different things. Do I go and watch videos of system design? All of these different things. Okay. And so where this ties into what I'm talking about with this front end is I haven't put too much effort into it yet. And the reason is because there's been so many other extremely high value topics and concepts that every single day it is, okay, well, I need to do this, right? Because it's so high value. I need to get a project working, okay? I actually got this project, working to a minimal viable state about a week or 2 weeks ago, something like that. It wasn't very good, right? But I got it to that minimal viable state. That was my highest value per hour spent. Okay, then where is my highest value per hour spent right now? And I have decided, right, that's why I'm doing this video today, that it is to be able to add this authentication and this login page. Okay. Well, pretty soon it is going to get to the case that even though I'm targeting specifically back-end software engineering roles, like that's what I want, spending 1 or 2 days to really dig in and be able to understand how CSS and HTML and the client-side JavaScript work together to be able to make a cohesive and engaging layout might not actually be a very bad investment of time. It might have a fairly high return on value per hour, because what that's going to allow me to do is, even though I'm not investing, or even though I am not targeting front-end positions, people are going to first see my front end. That's how they are going to interact with it. So if you are looking at my homepage and it looks sloppy, it looks bad, it looks like, uh, if it looks like, hold on, let me just show you. Login page, and I just take away the, not you, and I just take away this. Can I do that? No. Can I do this? No. What is it a percent sign? Anyways, watch this. Okay, I know how to deal with this character. I copy that and then delete it. If it looked something like this, if you logged on and you saw something like this, you would say, what is this? This is awful. This is so sloppy, even though the functionality is the same, right? Functionality works. You click the button and it does its thing. Your immediate reaction and thought is going to be, okay, well, if this person is so sloppy that they can't even make a good homepage, well, they're probably not they're probably not good at the back end either, right? So for the past long time, maybe like 5-6 months, I have been trying to dedicate 100% of my time to learning back-end software engineering because that was the highest value, because I was not at the threshold of acceptability. I was so low on how my skills were relative to the topics that I needed to know. But now I'm starting to get a little bit more confident and competent in those topics that it actually might be of value for me to spend a little bit of time on the front end. So that is just a conversation for a little bit later, but I'm guessing pretty soon it is going to be coming up, and I'll be able to spend some time to try to go in and play with this more and more. So I got a little bit of playtime today. And now what do we need to do? Let's go back to Copilot and let's ask it about the benefits of these two separate methods of storing user authentication. So Java Web Tokens and session IDs. I'll just say I just created a login page. I want to know the differences, and so the differences positives, negatives, and similarities between Java Web Tokens and session IDs. Which one is better to use? Okay, let's see what it suggests. Okay. Okay, so what we're trying to do right now is not just randomly pick one. We want to understand kind of like what is these two things? How do we use them? And what's going on? So, one developer, okay. And a critical one for any developer building secure, scalable web apps. Both it's called JSON Web Tokens. I thought it was Java Web Tokens. And session IDs are popular ways to manage user authentication, but they work very differently under the hood. Okay, well, let's see how they work. Let's break it down like a teacher would. Okay. So, what's going on? Where is user data stored? So for session IDs, it's on the server. For JSON Web Tokens, it is on the client side, inside the token. Okay. So how is identity tracked? Server stores, so for session IDs, server stores session and sends a session ID to the client. Okay. Server sends a signed token with user data to client. So this happens via a cookie, usually via authentication header or cookie. So both of these can be cookies. Is it stateful or stateless? So this one is stateful, it keeps track. This one is stateless. Server doesn't store anything. Okay, so I'm guessing this is probably going to be one of the differentiating factors, is if it's stateless or stateful. I don't understand what stateful or stateless means, so let's kind of investigate that a little bit more. Okay, session IDs, positive and negatives. Positives, easy to revoke. Just delete the session. Okay, so session IDs means this one. It is stateful, it's on the server. Session IDs, server. Session IDs, server. That's how I'm going to try to remember it. Okay, so session IDs. Easy to revoke. Just delete the session from the server. Smaller payload, only a reference ID is sent. Secure by default, no sensitive data is exposed to the client. Mature and well supported, especially in traditional monolithic apps. Negatives, requires server-side logic. Okay, can become a bottleneck at scale. Scaling is harder. Core issues, cookies can be treated with cross-domain setups, less mobile friendly. Okay? JSON Web Tokens. The positive is they're stateless, no need to store anything on the server. Perfect for microservices. Okay, well, this is a microservice, so it might be perfect. Cross-domain friendly, can be sent in headers, mobile ready. Okay. Once issued, it's valid until it expires. Actually, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Larger payload. Okay. I'm thinking in this context, actually, is my microservice a monolithic application? And what I mean by that is my overall project is microservices. Yeah, I have whatever, the 5 microservices. But for my front end, for like my API gateway, that's just one application. So technically that front end is a monolith, even though it is part of a microservice overall project. You want tight control over user settings. You need easy revocation. Log out. You're not dealing with mobile or cross-domain APIs. Yeah, I mean, I'm not. Serverless architecture. It kind of sounds like we're gonna go with session IDs, honestly. I want to use session IDs. How can I do so with Node.js? Tell me all of the different things which I can do and how I can use these session IDs. Okay. So what do we want to do here? Using session IDs in Node.js is a classic and reliable way to manage user authentication, track user activity, maintain state across requests. That's kind of what I want, yeah. Here's a breakdown of how to implement and leverage session IDs using popular Express session middleware, okay? So we already did this. We have this. We need to import this Express session, okay? Oh. So app.use, let's go in here and don't need this. I don't need this right now. I don't need this. I need this. Okay. So now I have this. Oops. App.use session, which probably means I have const session require express session. Okay, so I already have that. Okay, resave is false. Okay. So this one is different. Avoids saving empty sessions. Okay. I don't know what that does, but we'll see about it. Okay. So now authentication. What you can do. So store user state request.session.user. Okay. Check if user is logged in. Okay. Authorization. Store user roles. Role protect. Okay. Connect Redis. So let's just play around a little bit with this. Let's come in here, and I'm gonna try to block the user from this page, right? So right now I can load this, and I don't want to do that. So I want to block them. I realized I actually had that a long time ago. Destroy request set. Was I playing around with this a long time ago? What? I don't even remember doing this. Okay. Is it in my app.js? Where is my... Where is this? Localhost 3000. What? Where is this? Well, it wouldn't be in my EJS. I don't know why I clicked that. It's kind of ridiculous. Routes. It has to be in here, right? Well, let's look at my views, and we're at homepage. And so what calls homepage? Let's look at my routes and check homepage. So render and then homepage. Here. Oh, okay, well, there we go. So let me try doing this. So if, no. So if request session user request session dot user. Okay. Then we do this. Okay. Else we response dot send. What do we want to send? Like some kind of error message, right? Send error message response dot send. Status code. Okay. Response dot status. $400.send. Okay. And then we can say error not logged in. Okay. Let's save this and try to relog in. Or try to get here. Not logged in. Awesome. That's what we want to see. Now, what I want to do is I want to go into my login page here. And I want, once the button is clicked, I want to do something. Okay. So when the button is clicked, how... So actually, we can kind of leverage from here. Login, better. I'm just gonna call it better. Router.post. Okay, and now this one is just going to be login, no authentication. Okay, and I'll just get rid of that. That's fine. It's whatever. Now what do we want to do? Do we actually need to make it asynchronous? I think no in this case. So I'm just gonna have a request and response. And the reason I don't need to is because I'm not actually going to be interacting with any database. I'm just gonna automatically log them in. Okay. Like this. And now what I'm gonna do is request dot session dot user, okay, is equal to ID and username Timothy, okay. Maybe something like this. So let's save this. And I need to hit this API endpoint on my login page. So when I do this, instead of this occurring, I want to hit this API endpoint. So I am going to do that Axios. Well, what is it? Await Axios dot post. Okay. Await, and we'll need to change that function here. Axios dot post. Okay. And now this needs to be asynchronous, right? Async, which gets rid of that, and I want to send it to this API endpoint, okay? And what do I want to send? I want to send a JSON object, and I'm just going to say ID is 444. Now remember, I said 555, and Timothy, but lowercase. So I'm just curious, like, what's actually going to happen. Does it doesn't like it? Why? What's wrong? Oh, right. Username, like this. Okay. So, what do you think? Although is it going to store it in my, let's just try it. It might have worked. Now I come here and reload it, and it still doesn't work, okay? But if I do this, and then instead I come here and go there, not logged in, okay. Am I hitting the right one, though? Come on. This one. So post. Can I do response.render success? I just want to see if I'm hitting this endpoint right now. Okay. That should actually be send. Response.send. Okay. I don't know if this would be right, but whatever, let's just try it. No. Okay. So I will copy and paste all this. Okay. So yeah, it's not working. So we need to figure out why. What does express you're off to a solid start. Session space. Let's think of it as a mini express. Okay. So I'm doing that. Side of here. Okay. I mean, it seems like this is the exact same thing that I had. I don't know if that is true. Login. Okay. I'm not getting any information. Okay. So I already did that though. I am still getting blocked with my path because I am not logged in. I pressed the button. Okay. Request.session.user is equal to this, and it should be global, right? Hmm. So if I want to know who is the request and how do I know if they have a user? I am on the server, Node.js, and so does this mean after any person presses the button, all other requests from anyone else is able to now have a request.session.user? Is this setting global? Meaning if I change it in one function, it will be reflected in the other function. What I'm thinking is, I don't even know who this request is. Is it the same browser? Is it the same tab? Is it the same, um, do I need to immediately like render the second page, or like there's so many questions that I have that I don't know right now. No, it's not global. Okay. So in request, it stands for request. Okay, yeah, sure. It's an object that represents the HTTP request, incoming client, request.body, request query, parameter session. Okay. Here, you're attaching a user object that specifies the user session. It's session user global. Each user or browser tab gets its own session, okay, and stores a session cookie. Okay, if user A is set, user B visits the site, and it's still undefined. You can safely use, okay, response.redirect. Let me just try redirecting. I don't know. Instead of coming here and doing, oh, I actually did, right? Okay, no. Instead of this one, I'm gonna do what they did actually down there. Response.redirect, okay, and then where am I redirecting to the home page? So is it not hitting this? Wait, no. It's not hitting this right here? How do I see if it's hitting it? I don't think it is. But then if I copy this over, I take away this line and I just render it, it should work. Right? Yeah. So that proves that this is equal to none. And I don't think we're actually hitting this. Okay. Renderer. And let's just render I don't know. Let's just render this. I don't know. It doesn't matter. We just want to try to render something. Okay. Yeah, so we are not hitting this endpoint. Copy this. It appears that I am not, oh my goodness, that's the worst spelling I've ever seen. That I am not hitting the, okay, just like that. Here's my one. Here's this. Okay. And here is my login. Okay. See if it can come up with a solution. If not, Might be time to go to sleep. Okay. Yeah, it does. I just didn't include that. Here. What? You need to include Axios in my HTML. Okay. I sure? I don't know. So number 1, where should I put this as you suggested? Okay. 3rd, is the button actually triggering the request? Click DevTools Networking tab to see if the post is being sent. Okay. So we'll do that next. Okay. Script there, and then so that's how you do a comment. Okay. Fine. Reload it. Ah! Oh wait, because we didn't block it. So that makes sense actually. We need to block it. So let's do this. Okay. Let's reload that, and we failed to log in. Okay. So now let's come here and do this login. Okay, we click here, login sent. Okay. Now we're gonna come here and do this. Yes! 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 Now I'm gonna come and copy this and go into a separate browser and do this. New window. Here. What if I do this? It's still there. New private window. Okay. Okay, so there we go. There we go. Okay. So next steps are I need to play around with this a little bit more, understand how I can use this. After this video ends, I'm gonna go and watch some more videos on YouTube trying to understand this idea of session IDs, JSON web tokens, just get the idea more down. And then tomorrow what I'm gonna do is, okay, play around with the idea more. Figure out maybe add a little bit more complexity to it, make the just play around with the project a little bit, essentially, is what I'm going to be doing tomorrow. And then eventually, what we're going to be planning on doing is having the user log in with their username and password, going and checking a database to say, hey, is this a person who has created an account already? And if so, then we can log them into the main page here. If not, we reject them. Okay? So that's kind of where we're headed. I'm pretty happy that we were able to get this working today. So thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked it, subscribe. I would love to have you along on the journey to doing software or back-end software engineering. Welcome. And I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of the day. My name is Timothy Lee Grant, and I will see you guys tomorrow with more projects. All right. Anyways, thank you for watching, and goodbye.